students, welcome to Ideal Coaching Center. Today we will cover the story Big Brother by Munshi Premchand. It is not easy to memorize the king's names. There were 8 Henrys. If you write about Henry 7 instead of Henry 8, you will get a 0. These people perhaps did not even have enough names to go around. So after every name they had to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. So he is telling that it is not really easy to memorize the king's names. There were 8 Henrys, and if he writes a name incorrectly, he will get a 0. As for geometry, the lesser say the better. If you write ACB instead of ABC, the whole calculation goes wrong. The perpendicular is twice the base. I ask you, how does it matter? Even if it is 4 times long, what do I care? However, you have to pass, so you got to memorize it all. Then there are essays. So the elder brother is describing how tough the studies are for him. With a hint of anger, he said, "Why should I write 4 pages on a topic when I can say it in a single sentence? Isn't it a contradiction to write a concise essay of 4 pages? Coming to the point, don't think that you are smart just because you got promoted. Pay attention to what I say. I may have failed, but I am still older than you and more experienced. Let's go for lunch now." So here a word contradiction comes. Contradiction means a statement, fact or action that is opposite to, different from another one. So the older brother is telling how tough the studies are for him. He has to write an essay of 4 pages when he can say it in a single sentence, and he is advising the author to not get so proud of the fact that he has been promoted to the next class, because he is still older than him and more experienced, and he is advising the author to always listen and learn from him. I lost my appetite for lunch. Given my brother's reaction, I wondered what would have happened had I failed. Moreover, his description of studies in the 9th grade really scared me. However, even this admonition didn't change my distaste for books. I didn't miss a chance to play outside. I studied too, but just enough to complete my assignment and not be disgraced in class. So by now the author had lost his appetite. He wasn't hungry, and he was wondering that if he had failed, what would his big brother say? Here the word admonition means a firm warning or reprimand. Even if his elder brother had told him how he had to study so much and so much, the author did not feel scared about the fact that he has to study so much. He continued to go out and play outside. Besides playing, he also used to study just enough that he can complete his yearly session, and he would not fail. But my self-confidence disappeared and I started living in fear. In the next annual exams I passed and my brother failed again. I don't think that I had worked very hard and was fairly surprised that I got a first division. On the contrary, my brother literally buried himself in books, putting in long hours in studies. He had grown pale. He failed, and this time I felt sorry for him. When the results were declared, my brother broke down and cried. I cried with him. I almost forgot about my success. During the next annual examinations, the author passed the exams and he again got a first division. On the other hand, his elder brother, who was very good at studies, he failed, and he was very sad and he started crying. He was very sad about his failures, and the author also cried with him. Nevertheless, the evil thought crossed my mind that if he failed once more, he would be in the same class and there would be no scope for his lectures. But the next moment I was ashamed of my thoughts and cheated myself. After all, it was only for my good that he scolds me. Thereafter, my brother changed his behavior towards me. So the author thought that, if his older brother failed once again, in the next year, they would be studying in the same class. But the moment he came to his senses, he was ashamed of thinking so, that it was for his own goods that his older brother was scolding him and that he was advising him. Here, the word cheated means criticize or blame somebody because of something wrong that they have said or done. So, the author blamed himself for thinking bad about his own big brother. Several times an occasion arose when I deserved a scolding, but he talked to me in a gentle manner. Perhaps he had realized that he did not have the right to lecture me anymore. So, after that incident, even if the author did something mischievous and he deserved a scolding, the big brother did not do so. Maybe he had realized that he had no right to scold him in that manner. My independence grew and I began to take undue advantage of his tolerance. I presumed that I would pass the next time too, whether I studied or not. The little amount of time that I had devoted to studies earlier was spent in play. I developed a passion for flying kites and spent all my time in that sport. I tried my best to conceal this practice from my brother. So day by day the author was growing mischievous as he got no scolding from his older brother. So he thought that he would pass every time even if he did not study. So he started to play the entire time, even the time he used to spend in studying. He started spending that time in playing too. So he developed a passion for flying kites and he tried to hide this fact from his older brother. However, one day I was far away from the hostel and was running after a kite. I was trying to save it from a group of boys who chased it with long bamboo poles, and suddenly I collided with my brother. He was coming from the market. One day, when the author was going after a kite, when some boys chased the kite with bamboo sticks, the author hit his brother. Here, the word collided means hit by accident. So, the author hit his brother. He grabbed me angrily and shouted, "Aren't you ashamed to be running with the street boys after a one-paisa kite? You're an 8th grade boy and should have some sense. You must have assumed that just because I'm one grade ahead of you now, I have no right to say anything. Please remember, I am still 5 years older than you and always will be. Even if you get an MA or a PhD, you are still my younger brother." So when the author hit his elder brother by accident, his brother grabbed him and started shouting. He was very angry. So when the author hit his older brother, he started shouting at the author that, "What are you doing here, running out here playing with the street boys over a kite? You should have some sense that even if I am one grade ahead of you, I am still 5 years elder than you in age. Even if you are doing an MA or a PhD, you will always be my younger brother and I will always scold you." Understanding does not come from books. Think of our mother. She never went to school, and father probably never went beyond the 5th grade. However, they still have the right to correct us, not just because they are our parents, but also because they have lived longer and have more experience than us. So, he is trying to make the author understand that understanding does not come from books, that we do not always need to learn things from books. Even though their mother and father did not have a proper education, they still advise and instruct them, not just because they are their parents, but because they have more experience than the kids. They may be ignorant about what is happening in the USA, but there are many practical things that they know about. Tomorrow, if I fall sick, the best that you could do is send home a telegram, but father wouldn't do that. He would try for a remedy or else go to a doctor. We find it difficult to make our allowance last through the month. However, father has bought off a family on half of what the two of us spend today. So the older brother is telling the younger brother that their parents may not know what is happening in USA, but they know about more things that are practically needed in their lives. He is telling that how their father has brought up their family on half of what they spend in a day. So, brother, don't be proud of having caught up with me and being independent. I will see that you do not go off the track. I know you do not like my lectures, but I am doing my duty. So, the older brother is saying that I know that you don't like me correcting you, but I will do it anyway because it is my duty, because it is my responsibility to correct you, to take care of you and your action, and see that you do not do any wrong actions. This new approach of my brother completely stunned me. I was mortified at my behavior and realized my own insignificance and felt a new respect for my brother. With tears in my eyes, I said, I realize my folly. What you have said is very true. You have every right to say it. So, the author was completely amazed by his words, and he started having a new respect for his brother. He realized his own fault and said to his older brother that yes, brother, you have every right to correct me. My brother embraced me and said, I don't forbid you to fly kites. I like doing it myself. However, if I do that, who will look after you? Suddenly, a kite that had been cut loose hovered over us, its string dangling down. A group of boys were chasing it. My brother jumped up and caught hold of the string and ran towards the hostel. He had a smile on his face. Without a minute's delay, I followed him, trying to get hold of the kite in his hand. So, his brother is telling that, okay, I am not trying to stop you to fly kites or go out playing, but if I do these things myself, who will look after you? Because I have to take your responsibility. I have to care for you as I am your big brother. And at that moment, a flying kite that has been cut was above them, and this group of boys chasing the kite. So the big brother, what he did, so he jumped and caught the kite and started running towards the hostel. He was smiling while he was running, and without any delay, the author also started running towards the hostel to hold the kite that is in his brother's hand. Now that we have completed the story, now we will know about the essence of the story. The essence of the story is that quite often it may be the case that we are smarter than our elders. We may even be professionally better than them. However, the elders have practical worldly experience which we may lack. They always have our best interests at heart, even though they may not be able to demonstrate it clearly. Thus, we should always respect our elders and pay heed to their advice.